Good afternoon, everyone. Near afternoon. Sorry for the slight hitch-ups that were there in terms of connectivity in our background. Nevertheless, thank you, ma'am, for joining us. And just a very short thing about Miss Sunita is that she was an ex-school principal, a school consultant. She's a lead auditor with soft skill training skills. She's a mentor, success coach, and a top educational leadership voice. So, ma'am, you're actually carrying and wearing a lot of hats. So, we'd like to see your journey in all these different areas, your experiences. It's over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, very, very good morning to all of you. I'm so thankful to Mr. Rao and the whole team for having me here so that I can share whatever little experience I had during my tenure as a school principal and as well as a school teacher. Yeah, to begin with, I started as a kindergarten teacher, and before that, I was in advertising agency in Bangalore, and afterwards I moved to North India, and I took up teaching reluctantly. And after 3 months, I discovered that was my calling, and I thoroughly enjoyed my tenure as a school teacher. I used to teach English from grade 1 I started, and then every year I promoted to the next class until grade 12th I've taught. And also in 2016 I got an opportunity as a school principal for a rural background school. Though it was rural background school, the faculty was beyond the kind of community they were supposed to. They were excellent, and even the children, they had tremendous potential, and that is how my interest to join that school began. And 2016 I took over this very large format school, and I did a lot of innovation over there, did a lot of mega projects. I was also guest editor for Times of India, Times NI, and mega exhibition. If I have to talk about one of the exhibitions we conducted, we included all the subjects. That is, it was a multidisciplinary project where we showed the things in reality. Suppose if it is a silkworm rearing, how it is done. We brought the cocoons, we brought the mulberry leaves, and showed it very clearly to the students so that they can have first-hand experience. Especially nowadays, students don't get to see all these things, but our teachers, so efficient, managed it so well. They brought in the real life into the exhibition. That was a huge success. And afterwards, I did affiliation for the school also, and then I moved to a CBSE school, and there I was there for a very short tenure. And somewhere I felt that when I was doing teacher training, I realized that my role as a principal is confined to one particular school. I need to move out and make an impact on a larger audience. That's the reason I stepped out as a school principal in 2022, and I did a lot of certification, whether it is a soft skill, NLP coaching, and also one-to-one personal coaching, and I did even sound healing, and I'm also clinical hypnotherapist now. So it has given me a path that as a principal, it was confined to one particular school. Now I can influence and make an impact to a larger audience. That was the purpose. And in school, we also did various other activities. For example, I introduced vertical garden, how vertical garden can be created in a small space. We are all living in a very small space now, and until we understand how to adjust ourselves in that small space and bring in greenery there, everybody should have that green thumb knowledge. And of course, we know how Bangalore is becoming polluted day by day. So maybe to bring that aspect, I introduced vertical garden. I also introduced seed bombing, which is a very new concept at that time. I am talking about 2009. So I introduced that, and it was again a very novel experience for the students. They understood that their little action of seed Bombay can make a large impact in the coming years. We also introduced Tulsi Vana. We wanted to tell the students how medicinal plants are very beneficial. From the beginning, Indians are into this, but somewhere the touch has gone. So we wanted to reintroduce that. We created Tulsi Vana and also created a small vegetable patch so that they can understand how farmers work very hard to get that harvest. And afterwards, they harvested and donated the vegetables to the staff over there. So it was a very innovative experience for me as well as for the teachers and the students. Altogether, it was a wonderful experience as a teacher and principal.
Ma'am, I think you've kind of answered my second question, but is there some key, experience that continues to inspire you to pursue your career in education and leadership? Something that was life-changing?
Definitely, it was there. As I said, I never intend to become a teacher. In my initial years, I was in advertising agency. I was into all those different kind of zone, corporate level of work. And when I went to North India, I had no other choice but to select this because I am very workaholic and I didn't want to sit at home. I want to use my skills to impact someone or the other. So at that time, I was very young. At that time, I had no idea. My idea was to work and earn money. That was only in my mind. But when I joined and when I understood how students are influenced by the teacher, that was a key moment for me. I understood I can influence these students to whatever they want to become or whatever we want them to become. So that bulb on moment started at that time after 3 months of joining as a teacher, and it is continuing till now, and it will continue even after many years. Maybe I tell one sentence, even on deathbed I'll be learning something, maybe from a young boy or girl also. That is one thing which always attracted me in education sector. We stayed young forever because we are with a live young students, and when we are with them, naturally a tendency to do innovation, creativity, what's next, what is coming next, and how we can prepare our children, that kept us on toes. So I would say that the key moment was that the gap of 3 months. The 3 months transformed me a lot. And thereafter, there was no looking back. I kept on training on various things so that I can give more to my students. Unless and until you know certain things, you cannot leverage that. So I kept on training myself, and that is continued till now. I hope I answered your question.
And we understand that you're willing to become a faculty member for the upcoming Academy of Social Franchising. So, in your perspective, what is it you think you could and you hope to contribute to this initiative? And what are your expectations from the program?
To be very precise, it's a very novel concept, and social franchising is a very novel concept. Though it is there, maybe so much of publicity is not there for the concept. Maybe because of that, it is hidden under the blanket. But definitely, social franchising, as I understand, innovating something new and seeing the impact on a larger audience, especially on those who are underprivileged. And if you have created a quality in one center, how to take the same quality in other locality also? Because most of the time, many people cannot travel. For that, we need to create centers at different places so that others are also benefited. Suppose it is at the center of Bangalore. Maybe everybody is not there at the center of the Bangalore, and it is not possible to travel every day also. We all know how the traffic congestion in Bangalore, it takes around 2 to 3 hours to travel. So if we can create a small centers in the neighborhood where they can get impacted by this social innovation, that would be of great help for the younger generation. We all know that India is having large number of youths. Unless and until their potential is utilized to the fullest, we as a country cannot grow in length and breadth. So for that reason, we need to harness the human resource what we have, that can be leveraged through these type of social franchisee outlets.
Okay, thank you so much. I think this question I'll ask, because this is you all doing actually without answering. I think you're already speaking to our heart. I can say that. So one of the example, like one of the certification you talked about, Six Sigma, yellow belt, green belt, all those things. For me, as a corporate, Six Sigma is a process called system centric instead of people centric. You do an innovation and we establish the process and sets the processes. And without you, the system should run. That's how the Six Sigma is all about.
Yes, completely agree. Right. People centric. I did the Yellow Sigma very recently. Correct. But when I talk about people centric, I was talking about during my school days. When I was a school principal, at that time I would call myself as people centric. But definitely, as you said, Yellow Sigma is system centric.
Now you have grown up to system centric. So
yes.
Using that professional term, if you look at the history, if you take Muhammad, if you take Jesus or Krishna, anybody, even including religious leaders, their service to the nation or to the respective places is only 3 years or 5 years, maximum 10 years. The rest of the things, the people only taken up, because after they left, still they continue. It becomes a revolution just because they follow disciples, they train people kind of. So now I think tomorrow as an army, like now you have built and you are imparted so much of, let's say 1,000. If you can replicate your people like you, let's say the Sneha will be coached and Lata will be coached, Aishwarya will be coached, then each one make 20,000 people and every person you're getting some revenue. That's a bigger impact. So that's called my scaling of social art. So in that perception, if you look at how do you think that social franchising, whom you can train about your idea and so that you can replicate and make this system centric, not a people centric. Can you just throw a light on it?
Definitely. As we are talking about system centric, I'm in the process of getting green belt, but I've completed my yellow belt. So we all understand that Lean Sigma is all about creating an impact on a larger scale. And definitely, if quality is implemented in one center, the same process can be taken to the other center also. It can be replicated. For example, when McDonald's came, the system was intact and the same model was replicated throughout, and wherever you go you get the same quality. So people are following the process and that process gives the outcome.
Wonderful. Thank you. I think Sneha, you got next question. Thanks so much for giving a very prompt answer.
I took on the next question. Great. Thank you so much for sharing the insights and the knowledge, Sindhu ma'am. But one problem which with a lot of people which they have is how do you even prioritize that? Because you get so busy in your day-to-day lives implementing things. What strategies would you recommend for others? So let's start with you. Like, how have you made sure that, okay, I prioritize continuous learning and development for yourself?
In 24 hours, everybody has 24 hours.
Yes.
So if somebody has done such thing, even I can do. So only thing is whether I do have interest for that. Yeah. That is the first question. And do I have that passion so that I can make more leaders, I can create more leaders, or is it I want to keep everything to myself? When you have that mindset that I'm going to give whatever I have to the community, and from there is no stop. And this one thought made me to keep on learning. I keep around 6 to 7 hours aside for learning and teaching. Yeah, I take the courses also. I create courses and keep on webinars for that, and I conduct certain kind of meetings and create courses, and in that I do it. At the same time, I keep on learning. At least 4 hours a day I learn. That is minimum I should do in a day.
Got
So we all eat and breathe, right? So
Yes.
even this is integral part of our daily life. That should be the thought process. If we really want to grow as real leaders, we have to invest in our own learning.
Yeah, completely agree, Sindhama. I think a couple of takeaways from the meeting was this also, that one is actually choose a particular area that you want to focus on, and second is set some time aside for your own learning.
And we all see it on our background screen, the Academy of Social Franchising. So everyone here, we're all planning towards that social franchising. So with your experience, how do you actually see the potential for scaling social innovation? As a social franchisee, if you take it up, how do you actually view it?
As I said before also, this is very novel concept. And if in one center we are giving the quality, and if we want to give that same quality in another center also, we need to have this franchisee model. We cannot create one or two centers and that's not the end goal. Franchisee model will enable to give the same quality. As I said, McDonald's had this idea way before and they implemented this successfully. And this model was taken by many companies, and many companies are running this franchisee model very successfully. So we can take the same quality in another center also if we have systems and process in place. Am I right, sir? Rao sir?
Yes, I think, thanks so much. Especially you added a lot of rich experience, and also you already prepared yourself moving towards that Six Sigma and all the certifications to make system centric. We are talking different languages, different terms, but our intention is to have a bigger impact not with the people centric, which should be systems.
Systems. Yeah, system centric.
So,
at the same time, some challenges are also there. It's not that we don't have any challenge.
We are using a word social. Today I would have used only technology or a franchisee or kind of. The word social is collaborate. Unless people are involved, unless people own it, like how we own the temples, how you in the beginning you said about even including students giving an awareness of sensitivity towards the medicinal plants. Even in fact, we also run programs for Nakshatra Vana, Navadanya. So each and every concept, even what Dharma talks about, we're talking about now we religize everything, but it's a science. So I'm saying, so right now, I think we're all thinking good similar lines, and I'm happy that we're all coming together and hoping towards in the future a bigger journey together. And once again, all the team members, congratulations. And there's a great learning. As someone is already prepared for future for scaling. That's a great learning. Thank you very much.
So much for joining
Thank
us.
you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, everyone.